Hello, my name is Linnea Timlin, and this is my third assignment for the Business Experience module. In this journal report, I will critically reflect on my personal learning experience throughout the module and during my work placement at Bunyip Beads and Buttons. The center point of my presentation is a path representing my progression throughout the module from start to finish. I plan to discuss my major lecture and workshop teachings and to take you through 3 major milestones that I reached during my placement. These include securing my work placement, 3 weeks into my placement, where I will be discussing the changes in attitude that I noticed within the different people I was working with, and lastly, my final presentation to the staff at Bunyip. Our first lecture for this module was on the importance of commercial awareness, especially in securing a job at graduate level. Employers are not only looking to recruit candidates with impressive academic resumes. Graduates are now expected to possess a commercial awareness of the industry in question and demonstrate their passion for a particular job, company, and sector. As an artistic and imaginative person, I have a desire to work within the creative industry, potentially in the field of marketing or advertising. I understand that developing a commercial awareness for this industry will take time and does not happen overnight. As a starting point, I have subscribed to Marketing Week and have begun regularly reading up on current events and happenings in the world of marketing. Additionally, I managed to secure my 40-hour work placement for this module at a craft shop in Exeter, which gave me the opportunity to experience work within a creative industry firm. I felt that our passive and proactive job search lecture was summarized well by a quote from Stephen Richards in his book, Think Your Way to Success. He writes that success will be in your reach once you start reaching out for it. Jobs and internships are never just going to fall into your hands, hence the need for a proactive job search. Whilst taking the Business Experience module, I decided it would be a good idea to look for summer internships. I applied to several firms in Sweden whom I am now waiting to hear back from. I initially thought of CV and cover letter writing as a tedious chore that needed to be done. However, after attending the module on customizing your profile, I saw this as more of an opportunity to show off my skills and experiences to employers. Using tips I had picked up on from the module workshop, I made slight alterations to my CV before applying to the British Manufacturing Research placement at Bunyip. These adjustments proved very helpful as I managed to get myself an interview. The interview took place on Monday the 4th of February. Following this, I was offered a placement, the job title of which was British Manufacturing Researcher. Based on the feedback I received from my manager Matty, I got the job and stood out from other candidates due to small details in my CV and covering letter. These included directly addressing the person to whom I was writing and making it clear that I had conducted background research into Bunyip as a company. She said that I had clearly prepared well and done the necessary research. These were all tips that I had picked up on from the lecture on customizing your profile. I was so pleased to have secured a placement, both for the purpose of successfully completing the Business Experience module and because I knew I would be gaining valuable skills and experiences. Coopers and Lybrand claim that there are 4 major skill areas that relate to employability for graduates. They are traditional intellectual skills, key skills, personal attributes, and knowledge of organizations and how they work. Each of these areas can be developed through work experience, the extent of which will depend on the type of work being done. Upon reflection, my time at Bunyip definitely helped to develop my key skills in particular. These included my research, communication, and analytical skills. Prior to commencing my placement, I completed a personal development plan. This was to ensure that I would be getting maximum benefit from the work I was doing. I ensured my goals were kept in line with Mayer's SMART criterion, meaning that they were specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. The plan proved very beneficial throughout my placement, and it is definitely a structure that I will be using again in the future. It acted as a constant reminder of my targets and ensured that I gained maximum benefit from the work that I was doing. I began my placement by visiting and spending some time inside the Bunyip shop. This was in order to get a feel for the business and to analyze the type of products that I would soon start researching. Meanwhile, our next lecture was on creative writing and the hidden job search. I've always enjoyed writing and realized that this could be used to my advantage in applying for jobs. I went over my CV and tried to use as many action words as possible in order to highlight my skills and experiences. This was done using words such as create, research, and communicated. A small part of my CV can be seen here with the action words highlighted in bold. If I had to pick something that I enjoyed least about the module, it would probably have to be learning about assessment centers and interview techniques in weeks 7, 8, and 9. This is purely because I now understand how important and difficult recruitment processes can be, and I can't say I'm looking forward to the process. When I applied for the job at Bunyip, I only had to submit a CV and covering letter, and then attend an interview. I understand that recruitment practices at SMEs will differ from those at larger firms with more competition, such as Ernst & Young. I plan to overcome my nerves by practicing and familiarizing myself with various psychometric tests, such as verbal and numerical reasoning. Most importantly, I will continue to conduct extensive research into any company I apply to so as to identify exactly how they operate and what they are looking for in their candidates. Monday the 25th of February marked my third week of working at Bunyip. It was around about this time that I began to notice slight changes in the way that certain groups of people were responding to me. The people that I worked and interacted with during my placement were my manager Matty, who was essentially my internal customer, my fellow colleague Jenny, who was also doing a placement at Bunyip, and of course the potential suppliers that I was contacting. The attitude changes I picked up on were mostly from Matty and the various other companies. After working with Matty for 3 weeks, I realized that she became more lenient and brief in delegating my tasks. As I was gaining her trust, she was more comfortable letting me get on with the project by myself and devise my own research routes. She progressively became more inclined to listen to what I had to say and took on board several of my ideas. As I continued to provide her with constant updates on my progress, she began to noticeably check up on me less often. In terms of potential suppliers that I was in contact with, many were initially very reluctant to release their price lists or any information on where their products were manufactured. After exchanging several phone calls and emails, I ended up obtaining the necessary information in most cases. It was easier to get price lists, samples, and information after explaining to the other party that there was something in this relationship for them as well. Their incentive was potential future business. These are photos of a few of the product samples and catalogs that I received. One of the most useful lectures for me personally was the one on networking. I'd never really paid much attention to keeping and maintaining contacts before, but with 70% of job vacancies being filled by recommendation or referral, I realized that I needed to start making more of an effort. I have begun by setting up a LinkedIn account, and whilst my profile is still relatively new and undeveloped, I've already made sure to link in with my manager Matty. On the 27th of March, I delivered a 30-minute presentation to the staff at Bunyip, summarizing my work and achievements. This essentially marked the end of my 40-hour work placement, though I have continued to receive emails and posts from the companies I was in contact with, and I do not hesitate to respond to them or forward them on to Matty. On reflection, my time at Bunyip helped me to evaluate whether or not I am suitable for and would enjoy a career in a creative industry. During my visits to the shop, I would observe my fellow colleagues while they worked in order to understand what their daily tasks entailed. I especially took the time to shadow Matty, as I can see myself aspiring to be in an entrepreneurial role like hers and manage my own creative industry firm. As I mentioned before, the experience also provided me with valuable new skills, including research, analytical, and presentation skills in particular. According to Kolb's cycle of experiential learning, I will be able to use my new skills and teachings to better approach similar situations in the future. I will use the example of creating a research plan, as this was a key aspect of my placement. Having passed the concrete experience of devising and implementing a research plan, it was necessary for me to undergo reflective observation in which I identified what I did well and what could be improved. Through abstract conceptualization, I have recognized that I must develop more realistic plans in the future, leaving room for flexibility. I'm confident in my ability to do so, and once I get the chance to, I will complete the final stage of Kolb's cycle. Active experimentation is when I apply the generalizations and concepts that I have formulated to new situations. Last year I had been waitlisted for the Year in Industry course, but applied too late to secure a place on the program. I was disappointed that I didn't manage to get a spot, so when this module presented itself as an alternative, I didn't hesitate to sign up, and I'm glad I did, as I have been able to develop my personal and key skills. At our very first business experience lecture, David had said that this could potentially be one of the most beneficial modules we take during our time at university. For me personally, this was definitely no overstatement. The module pushed me to source and complete a work placement during term time, which is something I feel that I would not otherwise have done. I feel I have built on my strengths, such as my creative writing techniques, and also developed my weaker areas like networking. On reflection, through completing both the course and my 40-hour placement, I have strengthened my CV, which should boost my overall employability and improve my chances of obtaining a suitable position at graduate level, hopefully within the creative industry. Thank you for listening.